God, not religion, is central to our future. Because of this, the idea of atheism first needs to be clarified and then put aside. It is unsupportable and will eventually have little relevance. The philosophical side of the atheist statement of disbelief in God is more correctly put as disbelief in God as presented by the world's religions and portrayed in the lives of their members. Given the hypocrisy, contradictions, and unmitigated horror associated with the world's religions, what sane person can argue for God's existence based on religious dogma without in the end simply reverting to one of the many just because stories? The religions dominating the planet today, without exception, have not only failed to elevate the dignity, integrity, and welfare of humanity, they have done much to reduce us to our present level of depravity, a level so low that it should be unimaginable to even the most barbaric among us, instead of being our accepted everyday existence. But once the true nature of God our Father is known, and the evolutionary process of material worlds is understood, most people then validate the truth of God's existence through their own unique experiences interacting with the actual entity of God resident in their mind. Knowing God's existence is not based on deductive reasoning, but rather on your personal experience with God, and only you can validate that truth of that experience. No one else can enter the process, even if you so desired that they do so. You, in your heart, must decide the truth of God or not. Knowing God in this way, through actual experience, is true religion, as opposed to the social groups of people believing the same way that are now formed around the world's faiths. On the pseudoscientific side, arguing for atheism, are those people claiming to be both atheist and scientist, who base their disbelief in God on their belief that consciousness cannot exist without a physical correlate. In other words, no brain, no consciousness, hence no soul. Even though science cannot prove that consciousness cannot exist without a brain, they believe that eventually it will. The problems here are that a belief is a philosophical statement of reality, where the scientific method is a process absent of belief and dependent on observation, experimentation, and a commitment to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Regarding whether or not consciousness can exist without a brain, there are innumerable documented cases of near-death experiences by medical doctors showing what does appear to be consciousness after the death of the material brain that supposedly produced it. At this point in humanity's knowledge, the most any true scientist can say on the subject of God's existence is, "I do not know." From there, that scientist then has every right to develop his own personal belief system and internal relationships with God without compromising his scientific integrity or being ostracized by the scientific community. Both cases above are different than those people who cannot know God. Not everyone is born with a mind capable of making a decision based on truth, beauty, and goodness. This is obvious in today's world. These people do not receive an entity from God to reside in their minds. They are the people who have committed some of humanity's most horrific atrocities, and they are viewed by the rest of the celestial host in the universe as animals of that world with no potential for developing an eternal soul. When Jesus was asked by a friend if he would defend himself if attacked, It was this type of person to which Jesus referred when he answered